Good evening, welcome along. It is a live and very sleepy stream this evening after the antics of last night in the UK. But thank you very much for being here. I can see plenty of you are about as we are live for Portugal versus Spain, the first of two live last 16 watch alongs in successive days. We are here tonight, and then an hour later tomorrow at 9 p.m. UK time, we are watching the final game, I think it is, of the last 16 to work out who we're going to be watching on Friday night. It is a big one. So Switzerland, Colombia tomorrow night at 9. I'm not promising we'll be sticking for extra time if that happens tomorrow, but we're going to be live for this one then. That, as we've already got a couple of early breaks in play and free kicks. And of course, a bit more yet. 9 p.m. stream, Jambo. Make the most of it. But good to have you all in. Lovely to see so many of you about. Let me make sure I don't miss anyone. So on Twitch, welcome in Birchie, Portugal supporter. Liam's going Viva España. Aiden's in watching the end of the tennis, which looked a cracker, to be fair. 40 stream streak, some effort. Sai, welcome in. Enigma, welcome in. Jambo, welcome in. Yes, very much struggling to stay awake. I've just had the 2 naps today, but still about 4 hours down overall on sleep. 110 stream streak, Jambo, some effort. Sai, exactly what I'm expecting a KG affair. I meant the ones who stayed up till 4. I stayed up till 4. I stayed up till... Well, I had a brief nap at 6:30 and then went to bed again at just after lunch. It was some night though. It's got to be said. It was a great game of football, wasn't it? Worth the wait. Subans in on YouTube as well. Welcome in. You're supporting Spain too. Good to have you here. I hope everyone across both is keeping well as we continue with the double. Spain working behind, shot straight at a goalkeeper. Been a slightly more open couple of minutes than perhaps we were expecting. Mikel on fire, shots at the keeper, but it stayed low. It did well to hold it. English representative again tonight as Spain nicked the ball back high up the pitch. Out for a throw by the corner flag. Anthony Taylor in charge in the middle. Dan, welcome in. Tom, welcome in. Don't think I've slept since 1:40. So I had about 45 minutes at 6:30 this morning, and then about an hour at 4:30 this afternoon. Obviously, I had the 3 hours yesterday afternoon. And I had about an hour's kip before the England game kicked off yesterday. But yeah, it's not been great. 5-5 in the 5th set. Yeah, to be fair, look, we've talked a lot about the British tennis system, but you've got to say fair play. He's been given an opportunity and he's taken it. The question is now, can you consistently back it up? Which hopefully then will happen. Absolutely worth it. Do you know what? Forget about obviously a very good England performance. But it was just a brilliant game of football to watch. It swung, it had decisive moments, it had drama, it had controversy, it had the lot, didn't it? It was a brilliant game. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed watching it. And it looks like a lot of people did as well, because even a lot of the Mexican fans and things that you see are talking about it being a game for the ages. Even the Mexican manager said as such, didn't he? So, brilliant. Yeah, it did look a good game, Aiden, it must be said. I've not really watched much of Wimbledon at all this year, but it looked to be quite a big one. But thank you everyone for coming in. Sad when Brazil does. I don't know, Saban. To be honest, I'm watching as a complete neutral. So I thought Norway were excellent. I think that's what it boils down to in the last 2 days. We've talked a lot in this tournament when we've been watching matches about the second halves. And the second half of the 2 games yesterday, for different reasons. Norway, in terms of their control of a game against a good Brazil team, were excellent. The way they managed that game. And England defensively, the decisions they made, the way they fought with 10 men. I think both teams in the second half probably earned their passage through. So I think the right 2 teams won in the end. The Mexico fans were class. And the atmosphere, it's one of those, like, I always used to go back when you're watching, like, say, a rock and roll concert in Argentina at River Plate or something. You just think that's the atmosphere, isn't it? That's the benchmark. And that's what that atmosphere was yesterday with Mexico. And the manager was classing of it. Obviously, on the pitch, there was some antics and there's gamesmanship across the board. We've talked about that before, but I thought it was a really classy reaction after the defeat. You saw Aguirre joking during the game with Gordon and that. You saw some of the stuff shared behind the scenes in the dressing room after too. It was just classy all round. Really was. But yeah, Norway were excellent as well. And then you got the Thunder at the end as always. And just brilliant scenes. And it'll be a fantastic quarterfinal because both teams' strengths are going forward. And both teams haven't got a fit right back. So that could be fun. Raul looks a player for the championship next year. You have to ask Birchie, is this is Mount Everest and then maybe it's a slower start to next season and becomes a problem? I guess maybe Mexico going out now for you isn't a bad thing. That's the only worry though, isn't it? Was this his big moment and now he's almost taking a retirement party. Is Portugal break down the right, the shots over the bar. I don't think that's fair, Dan. I think his contract's up, Andrew Castle. He's had plenty of years. I think he's becoming pretty unpopular in terms of his opinions and some of his views. He obviously used to do work on other shows as well, which he doesn't anymore. And the BBC, most importantly, are cutting costs. So a lot of the older generation of presenters, and it was the problem that occurred with Gary Lineker and the likes as well, is those that are earning more money are the ones that are being asked to either take pay cuts or move on. And given the amount of competition there are from streaming services and other providers at the moment, a lot are going to choose to move on. The difference with the Subaka one is they didn't have a ready-made replacement of the same quality. And they were paying as much money. In this instance, I don't think that's fair. I think there's a lot of people who are doing the job as well. If Portugal wins, or Spain, who will they versus? Well, it'll be the game we'll be watching on Friday night, actually. Just hang on a minute. Spain break in behind. It's put wide anyway, but the flag will then go up, I would assume. Mikel puts it wide. Oh, is he on? So the winner of Portugal and Spain faces the winner of USA-Belgium, and we'll be here watching that Friday at 8 p.m. He's just at the end of his contract, Aidan. But a lot of people don't think he's a good commentator. So I can understand. He's one of the biggest earners at the BBC. Unfortunately, that's going to happen in a lot of public service broadcasters. When England players smashed that Mexico player, it was a poor tackle. It really was a poor tackle. I don't think there's any dispute about that being a red card. I don't think anyone complains. But England's reaction after that and the way they played was fantastic defensively. Of course, Chambo, everyone's cutting costs. Yeah, I mean, the ITV one won't be immediate because they can't change anything really for 8 years yet because of their contract. But you would imagine then, like Sky News, there's not going to be a Sky News and an ITV News in 2034. They'll just merge the two. And obviously, there are naturally going to be a streamlining of services and job losses in that. But that's the way the world's going. It's getting more expensive to run things, isn't it? So that's how we are. Like when someone asked me in the comments the other day, why don't I just employ someone to edit the videos so I can make one every day instead of not having some episodes at the weekend? When I pointed out to them that my videos average £1.30 in ad revenue, what am I going to pay them with? It's a little bit different, isn't it? Well, exactly, and that's my point, Dan, is there'll be other opportunities then for people to take jobs and work elsewhere. 6-6 and a 10-point tiebreaker. Be close. Did you see Bellingham score 2 times? Of course, I watched the whole game, Southern. It was just a really good game. I thought England were excellent for the first 25 minutes, doing exactly what had to be done to just take the sting out of the game, control the ball. Didn't really create any chances or anything. Pickford had to make one save, but just kept it very calm, kept the crowds at simmering point, shall we say. Stung the game very quickly with 2 goals, but then gave away a really poor one from a set piece, and then completely panicked for 5 minutes. And that was when I was particularly worried. Started the second half really well before the red cards. And then obviously after Mexico got the penalty to go to 3-2, it was just backs to the wall. And Tuchel gambles. Like, if he'd have gone defensive there and they'd conceded a couple of goals, gone out in the last 16, he probably loses his job. So he took a huge risk, but that's what the biggest managers do. They take risks, they make gambles with their decisions. And on this occasion, it really did pay off. So you have to give him credit. The players that he brought on were excellent. But for me, the man of the match, I know Bellingham gets all the talk again, and there's been a lot about Dan Burn and that. But for me, it was Jordan Pickford. I thought he was outstanding. Not just a couple of great saves, but the way he came for everything, commanded the box, big strong punches the last 20 minutes. He took so much pressure off the defence. For me, he was the best player in that second half. Yeah, so Aiden, they can't change much in the next 8 years. So that's the thing. The contract's till 2034 for what they have to provide, because 85% of their programming has to be original. So it'll still mostly be ITV productions. But at that point, you're naturally going to see some things merge. But there will be benefits the other way as well. Like, obviously, there's going to be cost cutting, but that does mean we'll probably see odd days where we'll get more football or sporting things from Sky, and probably entertainment and that for people who like that stuff, shown on ITV as a little advert as such. So there you go. Two shots already for him. There you go. Portugal corner headed away. Also got cake while watching. Nothing better than that. I just had an almond ice cream. But my other half did make chocolate brownies yesterday, so they kept us going through the night. I only had 3, but yeah, kept us going. Oh God, I've just seen a link from Jambo that's got comedy in the title. That can't be a good sign. Ah, there you go. The problem is the HR they've reported them to are all Englishmen, so they'll be all right. Unfortunately, you will, Liam. Yeah, there'll be no changes on that front. Are you talking about tomorrow, Tom? Definitely not tomorrow. Maybe an afternoon, but it depends how much sleep I get. What did you make of? I'm planning, Tom, to not see much in the morning tomorrow. If I'm being completely honest, my hope is not to see much in the morning at all. Yeah, so Ancelotti subs. It was a strange one. I actually don't think, maybe bar the Japan game, I don't think his subs have been great all tournament. I thought it was really odd, but it just sort of proves, doesn't it? We go back time and time again, and maybe it'll be slightly different with Tuchel, and we'll find out as we go along. But generally speaking, the biggest club managers haven't then made the best international managers. It's normally been those who are in a different type of role. So maybe that's part of it. Why did tomato drip blush? He saw the salad dressing. Oh, that's a Jambo special, that one. As Portugal trying to break forwards. Well, Belgium tonight, I think there's extra time and pens all over it. I mean, I won't be staying up to watch that one. I don't know. I don't really care who wins, to be honest. To be honest, I think US have been the more entertaining watch generally throughout the tournament. Belgium have got some star players obviously still going. So it's hard. Whoever gets through, though, I guess, would you say USA maybe give Spain or someone a better game in the next round? I don't know. So the USA game starts at 1 o'clock in the morning here. So it'll be what, 3, possibly 4 if it goes to extra time and pens. Yeah, obviously we're not going to get involved again in the politics of the red card and that. I think pretty much all of us have the same opinion in that Balogun shouldn't be able to play, but nothing we're going to say is changing it at this point. But what it will take a lot of nations to stand up, and a lot of said things, but we'll see what happens in the long term. Oh God, you're going to regret this, Dan. You said you want a Christmas cracker joke. This might be the worst one of the lot. What happens when a snowman has a temper tantrum? What happens when a snowman has a temper tantrum? If I'm honest, though, Liam, I do think the US will win. Yeah, I think the US would be a more entertaining game against Spain, but ultimately I don't mind. As Spain break in from the right, cut in, good save by the keeper, rebound, left hand side, good save the second time as well. Neither of those, you're very close, Jambo. Very close, slightly different wording, but you're basically on the right lines. Let me give you the answer. What happens when a snowman has a temper tantrum? There you go, Liam. He has a meltdown. Yeah, exactly, Jambo. A very loose definition of a joke, that I think. But I guess most Christmas cracker ones are. Oh dear, we're nearly through them now. I have to see if I can find some new ones for next Christmas, won't I? Thank you, everyone who's sticking with us as well. Good to have you here on both Twitch and YouTube. Worse than mine, Jambo. Hey, steady. That it's very close. Ball into the back post from Cucurella. It's kept in on the right-hand side by Olmo. Yamal with the delivery to the back post. A good ball headed away. I mean, it's been a little bit end-to-end, but Spain have had probably the better chances so far. It's worse than the roof joke. Maybe. Still think it's closer than you think it is, Jumbo. What have we got here? Shirt change? Not quite sure what the reasoning was there. Lagging a little bit. There we go. We're back to normal now. It's probably... I mean, Spain have had a couple of good chances. Yeah, the YouTube end, the bitrate is very slightly lower. I don't know why. I guess that's why some people pick Twitch. Cheers, Subban. I'm glad it's all right now. Spain have had a couple of good chances, but it has generally been quite cagey. I say, Spain try and break in behind again with Cucurella. It's good defending. Was it Ruben Diaz? Oh, and then a late challenge. Free kick given. Obviously, the beauty next week as well, if England aren't in the semi-finals, obviously if they are, we won't show whichever one they're in because I'll be watching it at home. But we will have like the Premier Sports and that as well with the League Cup starting in Scotland. We'll have a lot of the European qualifiers starting in Wales tomorrow. Just get that tournament bracket up again, actually. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday that England would be playing if they got there? I think it was Wednesday. Which works perfectly, really, because then we'll have the big watch-along, yeah. So the other one is Tuesday night, the one that we'd still be watching. And that's when most of the Premier Sports Cup games are. There's a couple of Champions League qualifiers and that. So it'll be a really good stream, that. And it looks like you've obviously got France or Morocco, the winner of whatever game we watch on Friday. I mean, it's weird the way this tournament's worked out with the kickoff times because potentially I could be watching 4 Spain games in a row. Same like in the group stages. We saw pretty much everything from Bosnia and Switzerland, didn't we? Ah, Dan, look, whether it deserves a red or not is completely inconsequential, essentially. The key thing is, in the modern day, that's always a red card. There would have been a time, probably up to the late 90s, early 2000s, where they say, well, he got the ball first, so it would just be a yellow, or the odd ref might let you get away with it. In a modern game, it was high, he lunged, he was out of control. There was no need, really, for him to go as high as he did, or to jump in from as far as he did. I think he panicked and thought he wasn't going to get there when he was actually comfortably making it. I think there was 1 or 2 that disagreed, but I think most of us thought it was a red card. As Portugal break into the box and it's over the bar. Dumbarton St Mirren Saturday. Lovely. Are you going, Si? I'm Hitchin v Luton on Saturday lunchtime. Then back home for the evening and World Cup game. I say home to Luton for the World Cup game. Any good chippies in Dumbarton? Si is your expert there, I think. Oh, Jambo's got another joke one out. That's a worry. All right, Subam. Yeah, Birchie, these days, it's always going to be a red card, that. Ground not been booked up to the end of September. The only one I haven't booked yet is the last weekend of September because it's an international break in England. So we've got a League Two game penciled we like to go to, which is Swindon Accrington, but we can't book the trains in that yet in case it gets postponed if one of the teams signs 3 internationals. My friend just asked me if I've seen a dog bowl. I said, to be honest, I've never knew he played cricket. Oh, I've seen that 100 times. Got to do better than that, Jambo. But yeah, I've got Fleetwood, Reading, and then the first Luton home game in successive weeks next month. Hitchin this week. A Guiseley pre-season game as well. But yeah, a few new ones coming up. Ferry's got to the quarter-final. Wow. That's some effort. Great effort, Aiden. Yeah, Dan, super work. Although a new one has opened in Dumbarton East that I've not tried. Nice. We're quite lucky here where we've moved. Like, there's a few good ones about. And they're significantly cheaper than what you get south. And as I mentioned before, scraps, not a thing down south. Mostly because I guess most of the fish and chip shops just cook in vegetable oil and also do kebabs and the likes as well. Whereas up north, there's a lot of dedicated chippies that cook in beef dripping. And obviously then the bag of scraps is delightful. Good evening, Jake. You joined me talking food again. How are you coping? Because you were one of the night owls, weren't you? Birchie, did you stay up yesterday? I didn't ask. Did you watch it back? How did you go? In terms of food in Dumbarton, I wouldn't really recommend anything. What a ringing recommendation. We've got the hydration break. It's been a quiet 5 minutes. Exactly, Jambo. So I'm streaming 8 o'clock on Friday night. Just to, if you want to question my fairly professional, I'll be putting a video out at 4:30 on Thursday, streaming at 8 o'clock on Friday night, having worked all day Friday as well, then up to get the 6:10 bus into Leeds on Saturday to get the train at 7:15 to go to Hitchin Luton. Then I'm going to stay up till midnight, 1 o'clock whenever the England game finishes. I'm dedicated. Found it on Twitter. There you go. You're at work all weekend. Oh, that's a shame. That'd have been a good game to go to. I presume Macca's going to go to Stirling Dundee United. I could have possibly woken up and he received, might have shouted too loud. Apologies, you saw so many goals at Tadcast. You must not know what to do yourself. Hey, fair play. It was a good recommendation. It was a nice little ground, actually. I was surprised in Tadcaster itself, like given the size of the town and it's got the building style and obviously with the viaduct and that, there's a lot of similarities and it was a bit reminiscent of Knaresborough. But there's not much in terms of sort of retail. I was expecting there to be a few more sort of cafes and bakeries and that were open. Quite a few of them were closed on a Saturday, which I guess is a luxury in a middle class area. But the football ground itself was really nice. The team looked like they'd just come back for pre-season and a few of the defenders had had a bit too much fun on holiday. But it was a really good ground. Obviously bumped into Nigel as well, which was nice. And Amy was happy because she got a comfy seat in the clubhouse to watch the second half. Plenty of time to do both, Liam. No, I think you got to save the pin badge for when you go to the grounds. That would be my opinion. But then that's only because my main thing's grounds. Didn't know he was French born. Yeah, his dad's French. You were up. No naps at all, paying for it now. I'm so grateful for the 2-3 hour nap yesterday afternoon. It got me through. As did several brownies. Quarterfinal, some effort, Aiden, isn't it? Who else have you met in the Discord? I've met a few. So you remember Wardy, the other Burnley fan I met at Luton Burnley, because he was going to the game and we just walked to the ground together. I didn't meet officially, but I saw Jacob from a distance at one of the non-league finals day when Littlehampton were there, which I think he was there supporting. And have I seen anyone else? I'm going to get a kick in if I have, haven't I? Obviously, Tom I know very well, but I think that's it. The problem I have, Jumbo, is if people don't say hello to me, I have no idea because obviously I don't know what anyone looks like, really. There's the odd people where obviously you've got your profile as yourself or whatever, but most people have no idea what they look like, and I'm relying on them recognizing me and saying hello, which some people I get wouldn't want to do. Yeah, it's going to be a few early nights tonight, isn't there? Prima donna Birchie. Ah, Jake, there's loads of football fans like that. It was fine. It was all good. Should be an excellent game. Expecting another 5-setter. I don't know. You just feel there's going to be a... It's weird, isn't it? Because you feel like there's going to be a point where he runs out of steam, but then you do see these odd tournaments. I mean, I remember in the early 2000s, one of the ones I watched where you had Philippoussis, who came through and then got all the way to the final from qualifying the wild card, who hadn't done that much in his career prior, didn't do that much after, but just had one brilliant run. You could argue it was Raducanu very early in her career, albeit she's had a couple of good runs in tournaments recently, but there are some players that just have that couple of weeks in their career where everything comes together. Yeah, ground was nice. Riverwalk's nice. Obviously, there's a couple of big breweries in there. But yeah, it didn't feel like a town that was particularly alive, if you know what I mean, or village if it is officially. But it was nice enough. It was perfectly pleasant. And they're the sort of grounds I like, those little non-league football grounds. And Scarborough looked really good. Watching Jonathan Greening in the dugout, old FM legend, you know. Few about. There you go, so you can go on the way home. It'd be lovely. I remember a British bloke beating Sampras in his pomp. There were a few good runs. Obviously, Ivanisevic went and won it from being a qualifier or wild card, but that's a bit different because he'd already had a very good career. Whereas the Philippoussis one was just like a bit out of nowhere and didn't really have any other spells. So you never know. Barry Cohen, that name rings a bell as a commentator maybe for me, not as a player. Obviously, it is an advantage if you're affiliated with one of the four nations that host a Grand Slam, is that you're more likely to get a wild card, aren't you? And as much as they always make a big thing about the finances, which shouldn't be, because obviously anyone who's in the LTA system has generally got a lot of money, but you've got to take advantage of your wild card. And fair play, he's gone and won 4 matches at Wimbledon. It's the experience of a lifetime. He can go and say, I got to the last 8 of one of the Grand Slams. There aren't many people in the world who can say that. That's why I always get really annoyed about the stick Raducanu gets. Like, do you know how hard it is to win a Grand Slam? Even if she didn't turn up for another match in her career, you won a Grand Slam. Like, it's an astonishing achievement. As down the right goes Yamal. Chance on the overlap for Porro to cross. Good defending. We are starting to see... I know Spain are generally the better of the two sides here, the aggressors, but they are two teams sort of cancelling each other out a bit here. Spain have got another corner. It feels like this game needs a goal, and maybe for Spain, because Portugal perhaps sit in the deeper in open play. And obviously Spain are being allowed possession because the Portuguese front players can't press in the same way. But maybe Spain missing a trick going with the short corners and playing short and across and backwards and sideways. Into the back post. Oh, that was some ball. Goalkeeper does well with the first one. The rebound's wide. I've got stage real save bid to catch up when I'm caught up. What's the title all about? So, Jake, all we're doing is the end of season review. So we're going and I've basically saved it separate and gone and taken charge of TNS and Haverfordwest to see exactly what situation they're in. Because we always have these debates through the season of like how much they're spending, why they're maybe not making as much progress, or why they are having good years. Are they staying pro, going semi-pro, whatever? So I just went, let's just go and have a look. So we've basically taken charge and gone and managed them. see what their position are in. Something I haven't really done before in one of the saves, just to see whether it's something people like the idea of. Have a nose around, finances, facilities, all that sort of stuff. It's a cool one. Benjamin, welcome in. Good to have you here. You'll be very glad I didn't go for the AI recommended title. I would agree with you, Birchie, for this game. I thought they would start Ramos to try and stretch the game and then bring on Ronaldo later, A, for a penalty, if it got to that stage, but also just as someone to be clinical in the box with tired legs later on. But then maybe they're looking at Ramos for fresh legs late if they can keep it tight. I don't know. Thought you were leaving real. No. We're too close to the end for that now. I've had a few fun offers this summer, though. I've been playing through some of the summer transfer window today. I'm trying desperately to get to the point before tomorrow. But Hertha Berlin, the latest that have come in for me. Not got the bottle to drop Ronaldo. I mean, even then, though, like the circus he created when he took him off the other day, and I just have a bit of respect for your manager and go off, man. It sort of tarnishes the legacy for me a little bit. Italy have got loads of top tennis players recently, but that's because they put it in as part of the curriculum. There was a big drive for it. We've mentioned it here. Unfortunately, 80% of kids are priced out of tennis in the UK, so you miss out on 4/5 of the potential top talent. Yeah, Caboli looks a good player, doesn't he? Benjamin, hope you're well. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you look at the last 8 of the World Cup, even talking on national traits, and you've got to say how strong England are. You've got an Englishman starring for France, arguably the best player of the tournament, the best strikers in the world, or the best strikers or top scorers in the tournament. You've got the English centre forwards. You've then got the Norway centre forward, who's also a Yorkshireman, of course. Just amusing, isn't it? Arthur offered me an interview this summer, just gone, there you go. So last summer or last season earlier, I had Celta Vigo. But Hertha are the club in the biggest position, I think, to offer me one. Spurs did offer me one, but they were struggling at the time. He was getting emotional as he thought it was his last game. Yeah, but you can't do that. It's 10 minutes to go. The game's level. Let your teammates get on there and win it. What almost happened, if you saw, he got to 1 second on the countdown, and his team would have been down to 10 for a minute. And then he's got more chance of being his last game. Just have a bit of respect. It's still a team game. And I know there's this thing with obviously social media and that Ronaldo and Messi have become almost bigger than clubs for a lot of people. People follow Ronaldo and Messi rather than a club. I'm aware of that. But it's still a team game when you're out there. If your manager decides to substitute you, and he hadn't had, it's not like he'd been brilliant. He'd had a poor game. And Ramos came on, scored the winner with a header, looked a threat, and it was proved to be a brilliant decision by Martinez. Like, you've got to have that respect for your teammates still. Has anyone ever seen Joao Felix have a good game? He's living off his first transfer for me. He's had a very strange few years in his career, hasn't he? I'm amazed he didn't start Liao. Yeah, I think Liao's a fantastic player. Obviously, I'm very surprised Bernardo Silva got dropped for a couple during this tournament, who, for me, is still probably their strongest overall player in midfield. Yeah, it's a weirdly imbalanced team with brilliant players. But after this World Cup, if Ronaldo does, say, retire from international football or whatever, and you've got the three in midfield that they've got there, with Ramos up front, they'll be a handful. We did a little bit, Jake, but not so much about England itself, more about the quality of the game and just what a brilliant occasion, how class the Mexico fans and manager were, and like just what a brilliant match it was. It wasn't so much about England specifically. I obviously gave my hat in the ring for Pickford and how strong he was. I thought he was fantastic last night. Well, you would think Liao, and maybe that's again a ploy for later, is Martinez gambling on keeping it close for an hour and then perhaps unleash Ramos Liao all at once and have a bit of pace on the counter. He's got a couple of other quicker options on the right as well, hasn't he? So you never know. Yeah, but the one thing he always is, Bertie, I guess a bit similar to maybe an Adama Traore, while you're not always going to get the full product or the full package, you're always going to get the threat and the fear factor just because of the pure attributes in attacking areas. Portugal do play out from the press there. In the end, it goes all the way back to the centre half. Advantage played. If I was going to recommend placing Dunbarton, I'd say banging pizza is good for a wood fire. Lovely. Bruce Kitchen does loads of load of hash browns. Nice. Decent Mexico. Something that both here now and before I've not had. Ball to the back post for Portugal. Keeper gets a good hand on it. Ronaldo back across goal. Well saved. Simon does his job. Fast welcome in. I think Felix went into the board. To be fair, he did quite well with that to keep it in. Went to go back across goal. Simon got a hand. Ronaldo did well to get there first, in fairness, and flick it over the shoulder. But Simon got back across. Laporte had it covered. Wasn't a risk of it going in. There's something in the summer when it's really hot. And obviously, we're getting another heat wave next week. There's something when it's really hot in the summer where I love... Felix is going to have to come off. Or is he? No, he's not. I really love like just an old burger van burger and chips. There's something lovely about it. I don't really know what's happening here without the commentary. Very nearly said a Portuguese Radama, but I refrained. Oh, we've got Neto down now as well. Can't believe how well they defend in the last 30. Keeper and back five, incredible. I mentioned it a bit earlier, Jake. I thought Pickford took so much pressure off with the way he dealt with crosses and balls into the box. I mean, potentially, Jake, we're 2 weeks away from Dan Burn doing something incredible, which is being a Newcastle legend and being able to get a beer in Sunderland for free. I mean, that could be a remarkable story in itself, couldn't it? I just thought it was excellent. Every decision. And I said it a bit earlier. Tuchel was a gamble there because he went to that back five at the hydration break. I think we all thought it was potentially a bit too early and a bit too worrying to not have any attacking threat there. And if that had gone wrong and they conceded a couple of goals, he would have probably lost his job for going out in the last 16. But the big managers make big decisions and he did that. And it kept him his job. And it was excellent. It was such a brilliant performance in that last half an hour with backs against the wall. And that's when you learn about your team, isn't it? They were brilliant. The difficulty is against Norway. Neither team's got a right back and both teams' main threats are going forwards and have severe weaknesses at the back. I guess my thing would be, it almost sort of works out that both play into each other's weaknesses because I'd expect Haaland to be physically too good for both of the England centre halves, but then do you bring in Dan Burn, who's been very good against him in league football before? Or Kane at the other end is maybe not quite as physical as the Norway defenders where you've got Ayer and that, but they're not quite as technically mobile and capable, whereas Kane is. He'll drop into holes, he'll find nice spaces. So it's really interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of the Premier League work will be later, won't it? I mean, you've got to worry too much. Burnley still haven't got a manager for Steve, so plenty of bigger worries. Miss the days of Pepe, Ramos, Maldini, Nesta defending so tame these days. Yeah, but then fast, that's always going to be the way, isn't it? People who were watching them will say, I miss the days of Beckenbauer and whoever else back then. Baresi, Pry, you know. There's always going to be that element to it. But I did think it was a bit of an old school defensive display from England last night in the end, which was great. Yeah, and Jake, that's understandable, isn't it? Look, he's someone who's not ever expected to or played at a World Cup or a major tournament. But I think, again, in that last 15 minutes, and to an extent with Spence, where he was probably forced in games that he wouldn't have had a touch of the ball in other times, really. But we saw why he was there. And under pressure with a barrage into the box. And if we're 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go against Norway and Dan Burns on the bench, you can bet he'll be coming on against Haaland to do exactly the same job. And if that's a role that someone's in the squad in case we have that position, then fantastic. Deflected shot, Portugal off the bar. Best effort of the match for Portugal, that. Welcome in, Saban. No, it's been quite quiet, but we have just seen Portugal's best effort deflect onto the bar. Looks good, though, sight. Can't complain at a 4.9, can you? But the block from like the bicycle kick where he just threw his head in it, it's the epitome, isn't it, of what the last half an hour was. The pendulum for tackling and aggression has definitely gone too far. There's always that argument, and there are in every sport, about the difference now where, because of sports science and physical conditioning stuff and things like that, so many sports have become more about the physical attributes than the technical ones now. I think the art of tackling and marking and one-on-one defending, even the old heading the ball, is in many places lost. Evening, Rob. Welcome in. Liam, it'll be a while yet. I can't imagine it being before the end of the World Cup. As Spain try and break away here, they've managed to get themselves out. Yamal does well, gets it to the left-hand side. A couple of attempts at a nibble and a foul, but Spain keep possession. Yeah, it's probably been the game we expected. Maybe not quite as cagey as Yamal breaks through again. It's a good challenge. But yeah, Portugal growing in confidence. I think they're seeing that they can cause threat to Spain as well. Spain definitely aren't as defensively unflappable as they were in Euro 2024. And they do miss Williams off the left. It doesn't give them quite as much dynamism on the break on both sides. Not as much of a fear going forwards. And that in turn means that teams are willing to throw a bit more at them going forwards. Just had to kick some alcohols out of the pub to finish work. Lovely. What a nice evening, Robbie. Had so much time for in the corner. No one closing them down. That's something that's sort of crept in again in the last year or two, hasn't it? Is short corners not being picked up, people switching off. Because I guess there's so much focus on set pieces and making sure that the marking's right and whatever, and people just miss the blind and the obvious happening in front of them. Which is why some of the short routines work so well. As the ball's cutting from the right-hand side, chance for Portugal to cross. Very content to keep possession and play at a certain pace for now, though. It hasn't been the best, Rob. There have been a couple of big chances at either end. It's not been quite as... I don't want to say dull. It's not been quite as cagey as I expected it to be overall. But it is definitely two teams that aren't willing to overcommit as much yet. And again, the final product, the ball into the box. I mean, even if that cross is perfect, Ronaldo is the only one in there against three defenders. We've got 1 minute plus stoppage time. There'll be quite a few minutes of it because we had a few minutes delay a moment ago. But yeah, given the lack of sleep and the deprivation of it in the last 36 hours, I could have done with a slightly more open game than this. And if it goes to extra time, I will really struggle, as I'm sure many of you will. It's out to the left. Yeah, Spain are doing a Spain as such, but as we saw against maybe Cape Verde, and we've seen compared to some of their performances in Euro 2024, there's not as much of a consistent threat going forward. Oh, they work into the box here. Mikel tries to cut inside. Good defending. It's out to Rodri. 25 yards out. Shot is miles over. Imagine if it goes to pens. I'll be honest with you. If this one or tomorrow night's 9 p.m. game go to extra time, I think I might call it quits and watch the end in bed, to be honest with you. I haven't done it yet this tournament, but I don't think I can manage it today. I just need a 90-minute result. Is anyone in here, apart from those stateside doing the night shift tonight, anyone watching the 1 a.m. game? USA, Belgium, the big one overnight. Obviously, we've got that one. And then Argentina v Egypt is an early kickoff tomorrow in the UK at 5 p.m. So we'll be talking about that when we go live for the Switzerland-Colombia one. Obviously, Cape Verde showed that Argentina, again, have got their weaknesses at the back. So maybe if Egypt can exploit them. They played well at times against Australia in that game we watched last week. Yeah, to be honest, the last week the World Cup's really caught up with me. It's been brilliant, but I've had 3 or 4 daytime naps. Obviously, last night the 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. as it ended up being was the real killer. And it will take me a while to recover from that. As Jamal breaks in behind and then the finish is poor. Probably had to go right-footed there in truth. I was falling asleep at work, so no chance of my making 1 a.m. No, I don't blame you. I mean, to be fair though, apart from that, and then there's one quarter final, isn't there, on Sunday at 2 a.m. They're the only 2 games left that are not European friendly times, apart from the third place playoff, but no one cares about that. So the rest of it's 8 or 9s or 10s, isn't it? That's European friendly at that point. Daytime nap shows who's kidless. Hey, Birchie, it's a lifestyle and timing decision that I have not regretted at all in the last month. Jake, bit of bartering, bit of negotiation, was it? Always part of the fun. There's always, it depends how often you do it, Birchie. If you've got the odd day, you can just turn up home. So I'm really knackered. I've had a tough day. I've got a storm in a lake. I just need to go and have a quick kip. Is a lovely bunch of flowers I got you on the way home. Just to say thank you for everything you do. I'll see you in half an hour. To be honest, Fast, there's probably not a right answer for it. I've enjoyed FM26 because of the saves I've done. But it's the first year I've not carried on playing the game off camera regularly, which maybe is telling. FM26 is nowhere near as polished as FM24. There are a couple of elements that are better. The match engine for me is far better than FM24. And there are some elements that look much better. The in and out of possession tactics and things are cool. Some of the stuff works really well. The user interface, there are a lot of things that are clunky. The tiling system gets stuck in certain screens. It doesn't work perfectly. There are some screens that are virtually unusable, such as mentoring and whatever. So if you're the sort of person who gets frustrated if you don't have completely smooth gameplay, then FM26, there's no point. You might as well just wait a few months because you've only got 3 months now, haven't you? If you're not worried about the odd frustration or you delegate most stuff and you just want to be able to have fun with tactics and watch a decent match engine and whatever, then FM27's probably FM26 probably fine for you. Yeah, Portugal just they're not balanced at all in their setup because they lack physicality in their press. They could be with the players they've got a really dynamic, high pressing, high intensity team, a bit like PSG are, which is obviously where the majority of their midfield is from. But because of the way they're setting up with their attacking players, they've lost that. To be fair, Amy got up and watched the England game with me, so no apologies needed on my front. Problem is FM24 is outstanding for me. In terms of smooth gameplay experience and immersion, absolutely. Obviously, in certain game modes, there were flaws behind the scenes of FM24. The head coach, like the AI transfer market and models, and that was the worst it had ever been for me. But the game overall, in terms of being able to play smoothly, if you were just doing a normal save, managing a club in charge of everything, it was seamless, wasn't it? It was probably the best edition of FM ever. So it was always going to be hard to back up, and especially with something new. We go back to FM09 every time, won't we? The 3D match engine in FM09 is atrocious. After a couple of years, it became fine. And it'll be the same with this user interface. Though I do think they'll hook the inner tile system. I've been hooked back into FM26 by my Brazilian save, which has been ridiculous. But that's the thing, Rob, isn't it? It just takes the save. Because the real save has been so much fun for me. And because I guess in the Burton save, I've had some players that I became really attached to. I've stuck with them. And here, obviously, where we've had the bizarre 3 sackings and lots of close misses, we've had great storylines rather than worrying about how good FM is and what screens aren't working perfectly. But the main thing is, even for those who haven't played it quite as much as normal, for what, it was about 38 quid with the discount code, was it? Most people have still got at least 100 hours of fun out of it, which still makes it a brilliant value game. It's just because it's compared to what were nigh on perfect video games in terms of entertainment and value for money in previous years. I do get frustrated, so I'll leave it. I like good performance game, minimal issues. The thing is fast. You've only got a couple of months now, haven't you? So FM27 will without doubt be an improvement. And the one thing to say is FM26 is in far better nick now than when it came out. So that shows that with another probably 6 months since main performance things have been worked on, it's going to be massively improved. Rob getting a Bobby Martinez dig in. It is half time now at 0-0. It's been a I keep using the word industrious in these boring games. It's been a risk-averse match so far, for the most part. Has anyone who wasn't in yesterday morning got any pre-season games planned as well? Any matches on the horizon? I do think Switzerland-Colombia tomorrow will be a good game. I'm looking forward to that one. Grab FM27 on launch instead. Hopefully it's got less base issues. Absolutely. I'm sure it will. And then obviously if England get through, next Wednesday stream will go. And it'll be Tuesday night for the first semi-final. Then who knows if we'll be streaming the final or not. We'll wait and find out. Could be a repeat still of the 2022 final, couldn't it? Which was a cracking game. Treating the League Cups my pre-season, I think. Yeah, it's a great bonus, that first round being on the Saturday. We're going to Fleetwood Chesterfield to tick off a ground. 88% went for Spain to win this game. I didn't see that in the chat. Ours is Friday night, sadly, but it'll be all right. Well, Luton's is at Gillingham, which I went to last season. I won't be going down for that. But if they get to the second round, so I'm in Luton the Tuesday night of the second round. So I'm desperately hoping that either Spurs or West Ham will be at home on Tuesday night with a poorer team at home. Because I need to tick off both of those grounds. And that'll be an easy and hopefully affordable way to do it while I'm already in the area. Because a weekday evening from Luton, you can get there and back for about 15 quid. So that would be a nice way to do it. Hopefully for less than 30, 40 quid to tick one of the grounds off. And that would then give me 3 or 4 new grounds in August and September. I'll be within 15 of completing the 92. And I can start to get excited then. Right, as it is half time, I did Gillingham back in 04. Dave Jones' last game as our manager. He was sat, lost 1-0. Matt Jarvis scored. Wow. We went to Gillingham v Accrington in April of this year, Easter Monday. I was in Luton, so me and one of my old mates went to that. We both needed to tick off the ground. One of the most bizarre stadiums I've been in the home end. We were in the stand that had the boxes and that in, but the boxes are in the middle. And it's almost like when we had seats in the top tier and you're going through like weird carpeted corridors, almost like you're in a hotel. But there isn't. It's just it's a carpeted blank room or corridor. And then you go out into another part of the stadium. It's a very odd ground. It was a unique experience. Great view. It was like the perfect height and gantry. The game was awful. I think it was Sam Vokes' last appearance for Gillingham at home, and before he retired in the end. But it was an awful, awful game of football. Just Accrington losing discipline and getting red cards galore at the end was the only thing. Last Bolton game I went to was at Gillingham 4 years ago. Seems we've all got Gillingham ones. Gillingham, would that be my last new ground? I think it probably would. I think it might have been my last new ground last season. I'm trying to think what... oh, no, when Mansfield would have been. It was my second last, my penultimate last year. But yeah, it wasn't the best experience. But it was a nice day. The biggest benefit of Gillingham in the home end is the little bar they've got on underneath the side of the stadium is absolutely fantastic. I had loads of different screens with the early kickoffs, a four-sided bar. It was a fantastic place to go pre-match and mingle. Something that Bromley does really well as well. They've got a cracking bar attached to their ground. Always something to look out for when you want to watch the early kickoff. Away end got very rainy. Oh yeah, the big away end with no cover. Rotten, isn't it? If you waited this long, you make Plymouth your final one. I mean, I think by default, Plymouth and Newport are probably going to end up being the last ones left. My dream was that my last one would be the new Everton ground at Euro 2028. That would have been perfect. But it's not going to happen like that. Never a great experience when you lose. I mean, it's not even a great experience when you win, Birchie. We went to Accrington Luton years ago, won 2-0 in biblical rain in the away end, and it was just horrific. But yeah, open away end. Yeah, it's the big, like the cricket grounds where they have the temporary stand. Like the Manchester Foster's Party stand, it was a bit like that. Uncovered, just a big old corrugated iron terrace going up. Really weird one. But anyway, we're going to go and take a quick breathe up. For those of you who haven't been here before, you can go and get yourselves a drink and a snack. We're going to go and take 3 or 4 minutes before the second half, top up our drinks, get ourselves refreshed, and we will be back to hopefully see a much better second half, because most of the World Cup games have ended up that way. We're back in 3 or 4 minutes to find out if this one follows suit. I'll see you there. Stay with us. We're back in a few minutes. And we are back. Thank you for sticking with us. Hopefully, the second half of this one will be a little bit more entertaining as we get ready for the the round of 16 to come towards a conclusion over the next couple of days with this one, and then tomorrow night with Switzerland, Colombia, the final game of that round. Saban, you like reading? You've got a lot of books. I'm not actually really. I'm not a massive fan of reading. My other half reads all the time. I don't really at all. It's a bit misleading in my background because a lot of them are either DVDs, video games, or things. But actually, there's a couple of shelves of books, but they're mainly programs or sports related things. So there's a lot of like match day programs or from snooker matches, from cricket, from football, whatever. So it's not so much books as such. It's just never been my thing. So I don't mind non-fiction and reading about articles and stories and blogs and things, but I've just not got an imagination based brain really. So I really struggle with fiction books, with novels, with stories, with fantasy. Same with TV, with dramas and made up things. I really struggle with it. It's not my thing. But I'm not against it in terms of reading football articles and programs and things like that. Currently watching the highlights of Norway Brazil. I thought Norway were magnificent in the second half of that game. I have to admit, the second Haaland goal was superb. So yeah, really, really good one. But thank you all for sticking with us. I hope you're looking forward to this second half. Fingers crossed this game livens up a little bit. I've just seen the Kylian Mbappe interview responding to some pretty unfortunate statements from one of the Paraguayan MPs. I think Kylian Mbappe's come out of that Paraguay game so well. I thought he led brilliantly on the pitch, and since he's done the same off it as well. I really didn't get this as well at the end of the Brazil game yesterday with Neymar doing a big thing with the goalkeeper, and it was the final kick of the game and they'd lost. Really didn't get it. They were a disgrace Paraguay. I completely agree, Birchie. Well, again, I broke it into two parts and I talked about it on the Sunday morning stream. For the first hour, it was a magnificent, disciplined defensive display where they didn't cross the line. They didn't go mad. They just defended in a really good shape. They looked really solid and they gave France a frustrating time. After the goal went in and the penalty and the fiasco that surrounded that, they completely lost discipline and they were a mess. They were disgraceful. And some of the things on the pitch, I mean, we won't get involved with the referee because it was a hard game to manage. But some of the actions, that 23 in particular, absolutely disgraceful. I wouldn't be touching him with a barge pole, Jake, to be honest with you, but who knows? Maybe it's a one-off. And what's to say that isn't instructed by the coaches and under other people it wouldn't happen. But you'd think as a human you might have the moment to say, no, it's not right. Keeper was good. And he was the only one I felt for a bit. But unfortunately, the team, if you're one person in a standout, the way that team behaved, you're going to get associated with it. Good evening, Harvey. Good to have you in. I do feel, Jake, you could tell the difference with and without Alderete for Paraguay. I think that's abundantly clear. We are back, sub, and welcome in. Second half's about to kick off. Yeah, it's absolute lunacy what was said. But unfortunately, this is the world we're in. It's nothing that ain't going on in the host nation, is it, Rob? Let's be honest. Obviously, we're not going to spend our evening talking about it, but yeah. When that's happening, you can't really worry about what's going on the rest, does it? He's a very good player. And it was chalk and cheese when he was on the pitch or not. But I think this World Cup has shown how good... forget the fact, obviously, you finished 7th and you got into Europe. But to the world stage, the the World Cup the Sunderland players have had across the board, the amount of goals, the amount of involvement in spine of key teams that their players have had, I think it shows how good the recruitment was last summer. The problem is then keeping hold of them and backing it up, isn't it? Players are out for the second half. We should be kicking off in hopefully 20 seconds or so. In fact, we've got the 10-second countdown now. Exactly, Rob. Just makes me sad when human beings are referred to as terms other than human beings. It's a fairly simple thing to ask for, isn't it? This has been absolute cinema. Like, why would you go to the movie theatre when there's a World Cup? Exactly, Saban. Exactly. The thing is, and look, I know I've mentioned I've not really got an imagination. I don't do fictional works or whatever, but there isn't anything that can be made up that matches the drama of live sport and entertainment. It's as simple as that. Spain put an early ball into the box. Bit more of a direct approach in the first 20 seconds of the half there. Correa loses the ball though, and now Portugal can break with Neto. He's run away from Rodri, and he's straight at the back too. Laporte thought about taking him out there, and the end forced him inside pretty well. Portugal got 4 or 5 forward, but again, they've not really got the physical quality to get it, and Fernandes puts it in the box. Neither Ronaldo or Neto makes the run. Bit of a weird one. But that first minute, again, fairly lively. I don't know if you don't very much like football, but I love the crazy ones. I don't know what it is, and like I hate watching international football that isn't tournaments, whether it's qualifiers, friendlies, and that. There's something about international tournaments, the amalgamation of people. You see it in the street. It's incredible. It's something that can't be beaten. I think that's why a lot of people who maybe aren't even big football or sports fans, they get behind big events like that when there's football World Cups, European Championships, when there's rugby World Cups, cricket World Cups in their country, whatever it might be. It's something you can get behind because it's just this big sort of mass gathering of fans from different nations bundling together and generally always getting along. You're in your Spain kit tonight, Harvey. Any particular reason for that? That was your main one? What did Amy come to yours to watch on the first day again? Well, it wasn't so much a date, was it, Jake? So basically, what had happened is it was a Tuesday in April 2012. I had played a rearranged Sunday League fixture on Tuesday night at about 6:30, as you used to back in the day. I got home, had a shower. I was messaging Amy and I said, we were just talking about potentially meeting up. And I said, well, I've just got home from playing football. I'm sitting at home watching the golf if you want to come round. In fact, no, it would have been a Thursday night, wouldn't it? Thursday night, because it would have been the first day of the Masters. I said, well, you're more than welcome to come round and join me. I'm sitting in the dining room watching the football. We had like a second room downstairs. It was part dining room, but it was also part my like computer room with a little TV in the corner and that as well. So I said, come around. She was like, oh, I'm painting or doing something arts and crafty. Can I bring it round? She was only around the corner. I said, yeah, bring it round. You can do that while I'm watching the golf. And we just sat and had a chat while we both did what we would have been doing in our own houses anyway. And I think that's sort of the key to a big relationship, isn't it? Is being able to enjoy yourselves and have a chat while doing what you'd both like to be doing. And if that works on the first day without anything fancy, any awkward meals out or whatever else and small talk, and it was fine. So happy days, eh? I'm not sure I'd be able to pull that off now, Jake, at the tender age of 33, but you know, back when I was a dashing, handsome 18-year-old, it worked a treat, eh? How could she resist indeed, Rob? What an offer. What more could you say than I'm currently watching the first round of the Masters on a 19-inch TV in my dining room. Would you like to come and do your painting in there? I don't have a Portugal kit yet, but I'm not too bothered. Never particularly like Ronaldo, and I was born the very exact same day as Pedri. Oh, wow. Interesting. Zidane or Beckham? I always said that obviously Beckham's English. He was an iconic figure and produced some massive moments for the nation. But of that generation, Zidane was my favourite player growing up. The way he carried the game. I feel he's underrated. I feel he should be talked about in a similar breath to Ronaldo and Messi, and he's talked at as a long way behind statistically. But the first Champions League final I watched was when he scored that incredible left-footed volley, which for me is still probably the best Champions League final goal of my lifetime, up there with Bale against Liverpool. And yeah, the way he came through the pitch, like that France-Brazil game, he was something else, Zidane. Did you go home after the goal or stay at yours? So that evening, Harvey, I was a gentleman. I walked her home at about midnight. Then she came back round, I think, the day after for the second round. And then she came over. The big one, the third date, was the Sunday, final Sunday. If I remember rightly, it was now, I think, someone convicted for criminal offences that might not want to be discussed, Angel Cabrera, who was in a vie for the lead with a couple of people. It might have even gone to a playoff that year. I have to have a look. Was it Adam Scott with a big long putter? I'm remembering all the key details. Let me have a look. Masters 2012. I want to see if I've remembered this correct or not. And then that night, the third night, she stayed on the Sunday. Because we're all too excited after the tournament to come to a gripping conclusion. Let's have a look. Did it go to a playoff? Yeah, Angel Cabrera won on the second. Oh, no. It was the first playoff in 3 years, but it was a playoff. Hang on. Was it Adam Scott? I've got to see now. No, it wasn't. It Bubba Watson in the playoff, but Adam Scott was in the chasing pack with the illegal putter. Bubba Watson was in the playoff, yeah. So that was the week. That was a magical tournament, that. Ah, Harvey. Classic, eh? No, I can't have Roberto Carlos as the best free kick taker. He only did it. There was something, I don't know if he got one late on in his career, but there was a point where he'd only ever scored 2 free kicks. It's just that he scored probably the most memorable one of all time. But he'd only scored 2 free kicks in about 10 years. I mean, the best free kick taker I've seen is probably Beckham. Obviously, everyone remembers the Ronaldo one against Pompey as well. James Ward-Prowse in the modern era has been up there. Declan Rice is starting to push it now. Those two he scored in the same game against Real Madrid. That's incredible consistency. A lot of people, and I was about to say it, Rob's just got there. A lot of people in the generation very slightly before me would say Janino. But I would probably say Beckham then. Yeah, Janino will be the most popular one. Bubba Watson, what a legend. He got it over the line. But yeah, that's the week. That's how you do it, lads. For just a few quid, I can run you a course on how to win a new partner during the golfing season. I'm sure there'd be so many takers for that, wouldn't there? Who needs dating apps when you've got the Masters? The problem is now it's not on free-to-air TV, so it's a bit harder for the kids these days. And that's the problem. When you take good sport off free-to-air TV, you're not just affecting that, you're affecting the kids' chance at finding love as they grow up as well. And that's the sad side that no one really talks about, isn't it? Who's your favourite legend? I mean, Zidane would be up there. It depends where you go in terms of legends. Because if I'm going in terms of players who were just class, I would have gone for Zola. He was always my favourite to watch growing up. For whatever reason, I can't say. But of the true greats in their era since we grow, I'd say Zidane. Messi obviously now is sensational, but Zidane was my favourite, just as one like that. Zola would be in that group. And then my actual favourites, cult heroes, if you like, would be Gabor Kiraly as a goalkeeper for the famous grey tracksuit, which I wore for years. And Steve McNulty at Luton as a centre-half, for obvious reasons, because he looked like the average bloke you'd find down the pub, but he was the most composed and technically gifted centre-half Luton probably had for 15 years. And he's still probably technically better than any of the centre-halves we have now. And still scored one of the best goals I've seen in the flesh. Ronaldinho for me to Major Love Football, great shout. Yeah, Ronaldinho was a class act. I probably didn't watch him play as much, Liam, which would maybe be the reason. because obviously he was at PSG in the early 2000s, and then it was only really the Champions League nights you saw the Spanish games. But he was, if you didn't have Sky Sports, but he was, yeah, joy to watch as well. Stig Turftin, everything you love to see in a footballer. There's a few in this chat I mentioned when Bo Hendrickson came in the other day and was close to the odds for the Burnley manager. I thought there'd be a few that would appreciate that from a nostalgia point of view. I can't watch football, so I just watch you. I'm sure the football would be better than me, but it's a nice second to be able to talk about it. The shame is other than these tournaments, obviously in the summer, there's not really that much football on free-to-air TV at the top level, which does make it harder for young people these days. What's that I've just seen? Harvey, there he is with his after dinner trivia. I was waiting for it. How long was it going to be? Nuno Mendes off. Nelson Semedo on. Injury force change for Portugal. Right, here we go then. Harvey's after dinner trivia. You're on your last couple of science and nature ones here. The Lunar 9 mission by the USSR in 1966 was the first to achieve what, Harvey? Was it A, a soft landing on the moon, B, high quality photographs of the Earth, or C, a safe manned mission return to Earth? So Lunar 9 mission in 1966 was the first to achieve what? A soft landing on the moon, high quality photographs of the Earth, or a safe manned mission return to Earth? It's more a history question, that, isn't it? Him's going soft landing on the moon. I mean, I think for most people who aren't history or science buffs, you'd probably go the you'd probably have to go with a guess there. Harvey's going A as well. Yeah, I mean, common logic, I probably would have gone for A on that basis as well, without knowing the answers. It's not really, after that first minute where there was a couple of chances, it's not really come to life this second half, has it? It's been a little bit drab, this match. I was just going to have a look at the stats to see how many sort of shots on target and that there'd been. Obviously, Portugal had a deflected one off the bar. Mikel put one wide. Yamal put one over. There's been 5 shots on target. According to the match stats, there's 3 big chances. Spain had one that I can remember. Maybe C. Safe man mission return to Earth. It's hard to know, isn't it? Because I would imagine all of them would have been in a certain time frame. I'm going to actually look up the other two to see the difference. See, yeah. And then thought I'd imagine that'd be a little earlier. Yeah. Not sure that Zverev game finishes tonight. There's always been problems with the scheduling at Wimbledon since the roof. They've never really nailed the tournament schedule. And this year there's no excuse really as well, with no weather issues at all. I'm just looking at the last one. Yeah, so to be fair, all of these 3 things happen within an 11-year period. So if you're having a guess, you've always got a 1 in 3 chance, but it's going to be very close. Back ball into the back post, Portugal. Ronaldo gets something on it, but not enough to be a threat. We've got a mix of A and C. Let's have a look at the answer. So the Lunar 9 mission was the first to achieve what in 1966? The correct answer, A, soft landing on the moon. The high quality photographs of the Earth was 1972, and the safe man mission was 1961. So 11 years between the 3, but it was A. So well done to the majority of you. A mix of science and history, I'd say that. So I think the next Yeah, we got one more on the science and nature, although there are a couple of other ones slipped in the mix. Then in a couple of weeks, Harvey, we'll be into the history and geography section, which is where you're going to have to come into your strong suit. Jumbo, the question was what the Lunar 9 mission was the first to achieve in 1966. And the answer was a soft landing on the moon, apparently. Spain again content to keep possession. Both sides, they're sort of probing with possession, but there's no one really trying to break in behind. They're both showing respect defensively with their setups. With basically 10 behind the ball and just a striker on halfway. And neither has really got the quality to find that through ball. It's one of those games where the two tactical setups are cancelling each other out. I genuinely don't know the answer to that yet, Jumbo. We'll wait and see. If the game's like this till 90 minutes and I'm as tired as I am now at the 90-minute mark, probably not. But let's see if we get to that bridge. As Olmo goes back to the edge of the box, chance to shoot, deflected, and it's no, it's goal kick. Just put it over Pedri. It's been a poor game. To be honest, Rob, it's what I expected, but from a timings point of view, it was the only two I could really do. But if it had been down to neutral games and I could have picked any, this isn't one I would have picked. I would have probably gone with a Canada-Morocco and a Brazil-Norway. Need a goal? Absolutely, Liam. We have for some time. And it probably needs to be a Spain goal the way Portugal are setting up without the ball. Harvey, more pressure on geography for me than you're the ref. Absolutely. Hey, that one's a full-time profession. Another one with a real lack of quality. It's just because the problem I always have, Jake, and it's the reason generally in these watch-alongs for years, and I know this tournament's been the first one where, because of the kickoff times, what games I've done has been dictated to me. But one of the reasons I always pick the games between the sort of maybe lesser fancied nations is because these top sides, when they play each other, so often it's a technical matchup of two sides that will show respect, keep possession, play in structures, and all of these modern buzzwords. But there's very often a lack of attacking intent and guile in areas because, as we've discussed before, there's not as many Mavericks and they're not starting games as often. Even in this game, you'd argue Portugal's biggest Maverick and most technical players, you're probably talking Bernardo Silva and Rafael Leao. And they're not there regularly. For Spain, you're probably, for Portugal, you're probably talking about that striker that can stretch the defence as well. You've got Gonzalo Ramos, not in the 11 because of the Ronaldo one. And Spain, likewise, missing out with Williams is probably their most direct attacking talent. So as a result, you're seeing a tactical game. But it's the one thing that annoys me with Portugal because they could be such a high pressing, intense team with a slightly different setup because the players they've got are doing it for other teams. And I'm sure we will see that after this World Cup. You're not watching it, Jumbo. Oh, God, he's got the jokes out again. We can always tell when the games are bad because there's so many dad jokes in the chat compared to normal. What's an astronaut's favourite board game? Monopoly. That's... I mean, I was tempted to give you a timeout for that one, Jumbo, to be honest. Kukurea clears the ball away. It's flicked on by Olmo's head inadvertently, I think. Yeah, it's been one for the purists, this, I think you say, don't you? I'm sure some of the tactical coaches and the data analysts will love games like this, but it's a bannable offence, Rob, yeah. That's up there with the worst ever, Jumbo. Keep that one in mind when you ask me what's been the worst one ever. These jokes mean you won't do extra time. You're absolutely right with that. Jake's going to save the day with a Who Am I? And luckily, we've still got plenty of them left. So, after yesterday's one, that ended up being surprisingly difficult. Although I did forget to mark it as done. Let's have something to wake us up. I'm not sure there's much waking us up today. I'll be honest with you, Jake. I have never been so desperate for a good night's sleep as tonight. It's one that really really is worrying me. If I don't get a good sleep tonight, things are going to get tricky. Let's go for what would be a medium one, I think. Tell you what, I'll do this one just because it featured games from yesterday with one of them, and one's going to be featuring later tonight. So actually, it's got a couple of links to it. As Spain break down the left-hand side edge of the box, the quality again on the pass is poor. And they give it away on the edge of their own box again. Chance to shoot, left-footed, keeper down, saves it comfortably. Relevant for the question though, before though. Yeah, absolutely. I got up at 6:15 this morning to watch it, and it's the best decision I made. I still feel good. Harvey, look, if it had been Wales, you'd have been up at 2 in the morning. The extra hour delay was a problem, because the problem is with the adrenaline of the game and that, then by 6 was sleep. If it had been 5, I could have got a couple of hours in. It would have felt a bit better. But yeah, delighted I stayed up, but really feeling it this afternoon. It's been a tough one. Harvey's not winning any friends in the chat. Right. Here you go. That's up to you, Subban. I don't blame you in a game like this. I really don't blame you. Unfortunately, it is the risk with watch-alongs, is some of the games are like this. We've had a lot of good ones in this World Cup. Overall, I don't think we can complain. But yeah, this one has not been great. So I don't blame anyone that turns this off and goes to bed early. Because if I wasn't doing a live stream, I would probably be doing that at this point. Here's Jake's Who Am I? I've included a name that will be featuring later tonight and one that featured in the Norway win yesterday. Who am I? I've played with Reiss Nelson, Morgan Gibbs-White, Benjamin Nygren, got one in for the Scottish fans there, Leandro Trossard, Aaron Ramsdale, and Martin Erdegaard. Most of the Howlers have been during watch-alongs. Have they? I don't know. Which ones would you say are in there? Not Elise, he was yesterday's one. 2 Arsenal players around the same time means he didn't play for Arsenal. Are you learning, Jambo, or have you fallen into my trap? There's the question. Kasper Schmeichel is incorrect. Oh, I like the thinking on that. Let me just pin it for those watching on YouTube, Twitch, sorry. No worries, Saban. Get a good rest from this one. We're back tomorrow at 9 p.m. We're watching Switzerland-Colombia, which will hopefully be a little bit more entertaining than this one. Not Isak, not Lukaku. Some good guesses coming in early. Feel like this one might be got a little bit quicker than yesterday's. The Spain breakaway again. The ball through. Just too much pace on it. Deflects off Mikel's leg. Bounces off him. Oxlade-Chamberlain again. Like the thought. Not the correct answer. Cheers, Saban. Have a good one. Thank you very much for popping in. You're just in time for the second hydration break, which means we've got another 3 minutes going. Every one of them have played for Arsenal, other than Nygren, unless he played for some during youth. Have all of them played for Arsenal? Morgan Gibbs-White didn't play for Arsenal. I didn't think of that, yeah. 4 of them have, haven't they? Scott Sinclair, good shout, not the correct answer. It's not Saka or something. Jake has got it. I thought it might be a slightly easier one. There it is. Jake's back on form with the Who Am I's. Sander Berger. Gibbs-White was a Wolves graduate and then went to Nottingham Forest. I'll give you another. I'm feeling generous. Just marking this one as done. I'll give you the links. I was doing a slightly easier one because I thought people would be tired, but Jake's still on form. He's still got the brain working better than me. So for Sander Berger, there are actually a couple of double links in there. Reiss Nelson was at Fulham. Morgan Gibbs-White at Sheffield United. Benjamin Nygren and Leandro Trossard both at Genk. Aaron Ramsdale at Sheffield United. And Martin Erdegaard for Norway only. Can we add another one? Let's do I'll do 2 of the medium ones. Save some of the harder ones for one of the other days. But I think this one's going to be a fun one. And it's got an old current favourite of Jake's in there as well. So we'll do this one, which I think is probably a medium or slightly easier one too. Who am I? I played with Riccardo Calafiori, Granit Xhaka, Kyle Walker, Angel Di Maria, Sander Berge, why not continue the theme, and Lamine Kone. So this one, instead of the answer being Berge, has played with them. Let's get that one pinned instead. Calafiori has been at a couple of places and obviously played for Italy as well. I'm pretty sure he played for Cagliari. Yeah, Rob's got him with Cagliari. No, Bologna. Bologna he was at. Always get the wrong blues. Bologna, Roma, Genoa, Basel, Italy. Italy's under 21s. And Petriana as well. And Arsenal. So he's had a fair few clubs. More Arsenal, more Sander Berge, eh? What more can you want? Kone, ask Jake. Sunderland legend, eh? Maybe a stretch of the words. Not Mesut Ozil. I was going to do one of the other Who Am I's, but I think Harvey would get it really quickly, which is why I've done this one that might take a little longer. Dermot Gallagher said, Dan, that Kwanzaa's red card was harsh. I just don't see it. I know, but then to be fair, we had some disagreement here. Rob thought it was harsh. I think as I said, going back probably early 2000s and before, getting the ball first would be enough to mean that you didn't get a red card. But I think in the modern day, that's always going to be given. It was high. He lunged from a while away. It was endangering an opponent. It was out of control. And they're the things that the referees look for. They're the buzzwords these days, aren't they? So I understand it. So yeah, Harvey, I agree. It was a red for me. And so I saw a different angle. I thought he got the ball, then bounced up. Yeah, and it does depend on angles, doesn't it? You go back to talking about angles that the referees see. The Brazil-Norway penalty yesterday. I think it was a penalty regardless, by the way. The one that Guimaraes missed. But the angle that the referee saw on the VAR screen at no point showed that Aya touched the ball, which he clearly did when you get the reverse angle. And that's going to be part of the problem as well. Not Victor Wanyama, Jambo. Like the shout. That's harder, Jake, indeed. It's not the hardest one left, but it's harder. When you go over the ball, it screams red. And it's just when you follow through at that height, it's always going to be a problem. Pretty central free kick from Yamal over the bar. By the criteria of a red card, sadly in a modern game, it's always going to be given, intent or not. Be interesting to see if they go for a cheeky appeal though, wouldn't it? Not DeSanto, not Eric Lamela. He's an old favourite of the Who Am I's, isn't he? Into the front post with a corner. Punched away by Costa. He's had a good game so far. I think we are starting to see with a lot of teams in this tournament the lack of depth at fullback. It does make you laugh then that some of the best in the world potentially are at home. Yeah, but Liam, we know what, as we've seen in the last few days, a media report doesn't necessarily mean an outcome, does it? It wouldn't surprise me if they reported them just because of the clearly sarcastic MP letter that was written. Cheers, Dan. Just under 20 minutes to go here. Probably just over 20 once you take extra time or stoppage time into account. I really hope someone wins this. I'd be a laugh, but from a football point of view, I don't think it should be overturned. And we've got, thankfully, it looks like Reece James will be fit on Saturday. Not Pepe Harvey. Like the thinking on that. I can see why you've gone for it. It's not the answer. As Spain break down the right with Yamal, he's got to play the pass across. It's not got enough on it. Such a lack of quality. Didn't quite come off. And this time Portugal right down the right. It must be offside. Throwing to Spain anyway. The quality in the final third in this game, given the players that are on the pitch, has been abysmal. And it baffles me that those changes aren't happening up top for Portugal. Ferran Torres is now on for Spain. Lucas Moura, good shout, not the answer. Let me know when you want clue 1. As Portugal right forward, Rafael Leao is on and he's making the difference. Ronaldo, I think, was offside. Carrying on though, shot from distance is blocked. The flex to Fernandes. Chance on the volley, just wide into the side netting. It's not Reece Nelson. No, it wasn't that cheeky Harvey. Clue number 1. I have played for my nation in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Clue number 1. I have played for my nation in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Clue number 2. When you're ready, we'll narrow it down a bit further. It's not Haaland with the long shot. It's not. Not Scott McTom. A reminder for anyone in, I've played with Ricardo Fat Calafiori, Granit Xhaka, Kyle Walker, Angel Di Maria, Sander Berger and Lamine Kone. Lovely thought, Rob, but not the answer. No, not Pepe, Jake. Harvey went for him. Not the correct answer, I'm afraid. I've got a second clue that narrows it down a lot more, and then a third clue that will make it, I think, very obvious. My third clue will be the giveaway one. The second one will narrow it down much more. Manuel Akanji, great shout, Jake. Not the correct answer. Can see why you've gone for him, though. Long ball in behind down the right for Spain to keep it in, but it's side netting again. Neither side still committing more than 2 or 3 to each attack. There's not been one where you've got 3 or 4 in the box. And it's something that, if you look at the sides that have had those performances, whether it were Norway or England yesterday on the counter-attack, whether it be your France, whether it be your Argentina, those teams have had 4 or 5 players attacking the box. Even the goals yesterday for England, you had Elliot Anderson, you had Harry Kane, you had Jude Bellingham, you had either Saka or Gordon. There was 4 in the box. Not Rabiot John. Lovely shout. He's there to try and save the day, but not this time. Not Bruno Fernandes. Clue number 2. I am still involved in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. I am still involved in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. There you go. I've narrowed it from 48 to about 11 or 12 that are remaining. Not Balogun, no. I'm not doing that one tonight. God, I'd have a death wish to do that one. 30 yards out. Lovely reverse ball. First bit of quality. Almost touch. Takes him outside and it allows the block from the shot. Had to take the shot after that first touch, but just the little second one out of his feet went too wide. He got into the right position as well, but then desperate to get it perfect. No, not Balogun. I wouldn't have done Balogun today. I haven't done Balogun, but no, if I had him, Jumbo, I certainly wouldn't have picked him today, is my point. Not Erdegaard, no, but I can see the thinking again. The answer is not one of the players that was in the last 2 of mine. So no Reece Nelson, no Erdegaard, Trossard and the likes. They're not there. It's not them. It's not someone who was mentioned in the first one. Spain on the right-hand side with Yamal. Ball into the box across goal. Oh, there's no one there. And that's my point. That's the situation yesterday that England were in. And when it went past Kane, Bellingham was there and Anderson was there and Gordon was there. This time it went past Ferran Torres. Nobody there at the back post and the Portugal defender can put it away. They're appealing for handball. That's a joke if that gets given. Not Jed Spence, Jambo. Let me know if you want the third giveaway clue in a minute, and I'll give you the one that should narrow it down significantly for you. So I've played with Calafiori. Free kick against Rodri there. So I've played with Calafiori, Xhaka, Kyle Walker, Angel Di Maria, Sander Berger, and Lamine Kone. I've played for my nation in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and my team is still in the World Cup as it stands. Not Dean Henderson, Rob. Here we go. Bernardo Silva and Conceição coming on. Amazes me that Bernardo Silva's on the bench, I must be honest, but there you go. Is Ronaldo going to be one of the two? Is Ramos going to get a game at some point? I don't understand. Not Gyökeres. No, I can see the thinking. Not Victor Gyökeres. I think he's out of the World Cup, but just checking. No, he is out of the World Cup, absolutely. Edge of the box for Spain, 1-2 play, cleared away by Nelson Semedo. It's actually sort of working, him being forced on, because he's naturally, Yamal's cutting into his right foot. Ronaldo on the right. He keeps slowing it down on the counter as well. It's a big problem for Portugal, because it's slowing the counter-attack down. Then Spain have got 7 or 8 behind the ball. It's hard to watch because he's an absolute legend of the game and one of the greatest players that's ever lived, but he's not helping Portugal at this moment in time. Not Robinson Harvey, no. No, Jambo, as Leal breaks in. Not Raya. Do you want the bigger clue, the bigger hint? I don't know whether it'll work out as big a hint as I think, but... So the biggest hint, Jambo Liam and the rest. I have deliberately picked this Who Am I because Steve is not active in the chat at the moment. I have deliberately picked this Who Am I because Steve is not active in the chat at the moment. Does that narrow it down for you? Jake, not Sicaria. You're warm with a couple of your guesses. Very warm with a couple. I'm sure you can work out the reason why. Not necessarily Burnley now, but Burnley at some point, perhaps. Maybe Burnley now, maybe Burnley in the past. Jambo, you get away with that one. Not Estevate. There it is. John and Jake, almost to the second identical. Not James Trafford. Almost to the second identical. The man who committed... I was going to use that as a clue instead if Steve was in to wind him up. The man who has committed the loudest scream ever heard at Kenilworth Road. Zeki Amdouni, the Swiss international, is the answer to the Who Am I. Played with Ricardo Calafiori at Basel. Played with Granit Xhaka for Switzerland, of course. Kyle Walker at Burnley. Angel Di Maria at Benfica. Sander Berger at Burnley. And Lamine Kone chucked him in as a little curveball at the end at Lausanne, thinking that a few of you would think Sunderland with him and Granit Xhaka. But there you go. I wouldn't have got him until you said that. There you go. Maybe it was a harder one than I thought, but we are. Let me just double check now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We are exactly halfway through the Who Am I's that I made for the World Cup. And I've already started my list for next season as well and got 6 or 7 on there. So the Who Am I's will be continuing for the long haul. You don't have to worry about that. Not to mention that Jambo's going to be chucking in a few soon as well. When the new season kicks off. All into the back post, a lack of quality again. I don't know about you guys after last night, but I am definitely thinking at the end of 90 minutes that I will be in bed tucked up watching extra time of this one and possibly falling asleep. Because it has... For someone who's barely had an hour's wink in the last 36 hours, it has not been a good game. Nearly went for Benter before he said he was playing the World Cup. I think I've done a Nicholas Benter one before. He's quite a handy one to have in there because he played for quite a few random clubs. And obviously the Denmark link gives you a license to a couple of good players as well. A couple of Spain subs coming. I think Marino was one of them. The antics are starting to ramp up now. I love watching Conceição run with the ball, but he does have a bit of a tendency. Yeah, no worries, Jambo. I can't promise I'll respond instantly, depending on how much sleep I get tonight, but we'll get there. Annoyingly, I've got a busy couple of employed work days before going to Luton. At the very worst, I'll answer you when I'm sitting on a train at the weekend. You're terrible at these, Jambo. Yeah, but you're good at making them, which means you can get away with being bad at answering them. Because then you can make me look bad instead. I'm not very good at the who am I's. I had one little spell one summer where I was quite handy. I'm pretty sure I got one. I can't remember who did it. I got one that was Benoit Asuakoto and Pascal Chinwanda, which I was really pleased with myself in successive weeks. And then I didn't get one for about 5 months after that. You got ages, Jambo. You'll be fine. You don't need to put pressure on it. It's only a fun little side game. It adds a bit to the stream for a lot of us because we're all nostalgic football nerds, aren't we, pretty much? As edge of the box, Spain, the lack of quality, deflecting, easy for the keeper. It's not been the game we dreamt of, has it? It's been the game I think we largely expected, maybe with a little less quality in the final third, but it's not really what we were hoping for. And when you consider, take aside the England bias in the performance yesterday, I think even as neutrals, a lot have said that those two games, Brazil-Norway, the second half in particular, and then the whole of Mexico-England, they were good games of football. This has been far from it. I don't know, Rob. I really don't know. And that's why I thought he would be a sub, because you bring him on late to add an influence in the box against tired legs to take a penalty. It just seems the weird way round to do it. He's one of the people I feel most sorry for in world football is Gonzalo Ramos, because he's such a good striker. I haven't, Harvey. What is it? It's not showing up on mine. Tell me, show me, Harvey. I haven't seen it. Tell me and we'll do it. Is it you're the ref? Don't tell me so you're the ref. You're not finishing us off with key fire, or are you going to? Oh no, I know what it is. I know what it is. It's going to be this, isn't it? There you go. I knew it was going to be that. Come on then. We all have such fun. We love these jokes so much, don't we? So, we've had a few dad jokes now. Hang on a minute. Spain right side of the box. Could it save us the extra half an hour? Oh, the through ball. There's no quality again. Right, here we go. Oh my God. I've just read one in a couple of pages' time. I've read one in a couple of pages. It is... I mean, Harvey will probably like it, and Jambo, because it's their criteria, but... In fact, it is the next page, isn't it? Because we did the photograph of football up. Well, there's only 2 on this page, I'm afraid, Harvey, but they're top tier by this book standards. So I think you'll be worth your redemption here. First question out of 2, and I'll give you a chance to answer these as well. Which football team never meets before a match? Which football team never meets before a match? Anthony Taylor, he's been very lenient tonight, but he's got the yellow card out this time. Bruno Fernandes in his ear, and he's telling him to shut up, rightly so. Very late from Bernardo Silva. Very late. No, not the Butchers. Opposite kind of meat they're going for. Liam. This is the first one, Jumbo. Forest Green because the vegan. No. No, opposite type kind of meat. Opposite kind of meat. Which football team never meets before a match? Meets as in sees each other. Subban, because there's not been many chances. It's not been a great game. Okay, Harvey, be ready. You're going to appreciate this. Which football team never meets before a match? Queen's Park Strangers. By this book standards, that's not bad. It's the best one we've had in a book. It's the first one I would actually classify as a football joke, a genuine football joke. It's not good, but it's a joke. It meets the criteria at least. We've not really seen many clear-cut chances, Saban, unfortunately. It's been a little bit lacking in quality in the final third. But Yamal's got it on the right here. We'll probably have at least 6 or 7 minutes added. So if there's a goal here, it's almost certainly a winner. Not seeing it just yet, though. Just don't expect the punchline. It is good. There you go. Which football team never meets before a match? Queen's Park Strangers. And the second one, the finale on the page, Harvey. And I think you'll like this one as well. It's a strong page by this book standard. Which football team? And this one, other definition of food. As Spain break in behind. Oh, he's onside. It's 1-0. Mikel Merino. Arsenal super sub striker has done it again. Oh, thank God. I don't think any of us wanted to watch another half an hour of that. What a goal to finish off what has been a really poor game. Finally, a bit of quality on the through ball. And Mikel Merino with a finish. And you know what that was? A midfielder taking a gamble, making a run behind the defence. And Spain, I'll wait for the offside check. It's a quick free kick. He takes it himself, doesn't he, Merino? Just makes the run in behind. Ah, brilliant. Do you know what? Fair play to him. For all of the tactical setups and all of the structures, he just took a quick free kick, ran straight off the ball and got in behind. Portugal switched off and Spain are through. It's terrible defending. You're absolutely right. And Bernardo Silva, that foul after a yellow as well. After I said, why is he not in the team? He might have proved it the last 10 minutes. Like a knife through butter, the old cliche. There you go. Finally, Saban. Absolutely. Now, can Spain stick in a shape for 5 minutes to see this off? Jambo, you are saying exactly what I was thinking. Right, let me give you the other one of these before you finish, because you're going to like this. We're going to the other side, and this one actually is food related. So, Harvey, which football team should you not eat in a sandwich? Which football team should you not eat in a sandwich? It works better on paper than it does said, but I'll do it anyway. Oh, close, close. Very close, Liam and Harvey. Famous first words. I said to the missus, want me to order a pizza for extra time, eh? Liam, Mikel Merino, he's doing favours in the cost of living crisis, isn't he? Saving us all 10 or 15 quid. No, Harvey. Correct answer. What football team should you not eat in a sandwich? Oldham. Oldham. You went for West Ham instead of Oldham. You don't want to eat Oldham, do you? It's gone off. That, do you know what? I'll give it to them. That page is fair enough for a cheap football jokes book. The rest of it's been absolutely awful. But those two, they were fine. Maybe this book's going to get stronger as we go on. I don't know. I'm going to have a quick preview of the next one just to see. Oh, God. Good news for you, Harvey, for the next couple of streams. All of the next 3 jokes are one of your little conversations, which you were such a big fan of. It wasn't too bad, Rob. The rest of the book's been excruciating, but that was okay. Thank you to everyone who stuck with us tonight as well. I do appreciate it. Portugal are losing discipline a bit now. Saban celebrating the same way as me. Finally scored. Did the names rhyme? Yes. There's one that doesn't rhyme, has a different theme. All of the rest on the next 2 or 3 pages rhyme. Then weirdly, there's one in about 3 pages time, Harvey, where they've just called one of them first player and one of them second player. After all of the rhyming names ones. I'm guessing about 15 pages in, they've run out of rhyming names. But yes, you have got some rhyming ones to start with. Last chance for Portugal. Right side of the box. Chance to cross to the back post. It's well over here. Is it going to be kept in? It is by Rafael Leao. Portugal still not in a hurry with 90 seconds to go. It's not the best ball. Semedo almost has it poached from him. Keeps possession left-hand side, but it's at a pedestrian pace. That's what I like, Harvey. There you go. Ball into the box, headed away at the front post. Spain sitting back on this, trusting themselves now. Do you know what? You have to say fair play to Spain again. It's not a vintage performance, but it's one of those that's a difficult game against a side that sit back and they found a way through it. They've not come under that much of a threat. They had that deflected shot that hit their crossbar and a couple of half chances against them, but nothing really to worry them too much. They certainly don't look like they did in Euro 2024, but they're competing. They're going into another World Cup quarter-final. We will be watching them again on Friday against either the US or Belgium. And that ball, switcher play from Portugal out of play. And it's probably game over. Ronaldo's turning around berating his teammates. It just doesn't help. It's not an individual show. I've been really disappointed with Portugal in this tournament. The way they've set up, the way they played. They were poor in the groups. Obviously, they got past Croatia in the last minute, but they weren't dominant in that match. And Spain have probably largely been the aggressors here. Down the left-hand side, there's 10 seconds to go. They're just chipping it forward, backwards and sideways. It's so bizarre. Up to the back post it goes. Chance to cross from the right for Conceição. He's got to put it in now. It's now or never into the front post. Flicked on just over. Oh, that's a big chance. It's a huge chance. It was Bernardo Silva diving in. He's now losing his rag with Rodri. All he's doing is wasting the final seconds for his own team. Now trying to pick a fight with one of his own players. I don't even know what he's arguing about there. He won the header. It went over. To be honest, Jake, I don't think he can stretch any further. He's at the top of his reach, in fairness. Oh, there you go, Harvey. That thing from 12 minutes ago has just come through now. Oh, there you go. How bizarre. Yeah, I think that will be the end of Cristiano Ronaldo's international career sub, and I think you'll be right. A legendary player, a wonderful one, but this tournament, sadly, it has just been one too far. Borja Iglesias on for Spain for the last few seconds. I'm not sure he'll even touch the ball. Mikel's the man off. Iglesias does get a touch to put it out for a throw-in. Even now, Portugal throwing backwards. I wonder if he tries to make the Euros, Rob, but someone's going to replace Martinez. He's not going to survive this. And they've just got to say, look, I need to pick the best 11 now. You've been an unbelievable player. You'll always be a hero, a legend, but we've got to do the right thing to move forward now. But Portugal, I mean, to be fair, you say what you want about Ronaldo, the midfield today in possession, it's not been good enough either. There's not been much quality anywhere. There's not been much intensity. It's been a poor overall performance too. Conceição is the one that showed a little bit since coming on, and he's just won a free kick, which will be the final opportunity to put a cross into the box. Yellow card for Ferran Torres. Yeah, 2 in 2 games. I mean, he said he's not going to retire from club football, didn't he? But you'd imagine with Modric last week, with Ronaldo here, it's the end of international careers. But fantastic player. Diogo Costa's gone up. There is one kick to save it. Free kick from the right-hand side. We've seen a lot of late drama in this tournament. Fernandez on the delivery. Into the front post. Flicked on and it's wide again. Out by João Neves. The final whistle goes. Where was that intent from Portugal for 92 minutes? Spain are through. Mikel Merino, the hero, after what has been a very tough year for him. Got to be going at the back post. And it's been a story of the game overall, Harvey. Just not enough of a gamble from people. Cheers, Liam, as well. That's come through 5 minutes late as well. Not been enough players gambling in the box. But Mikel Merino, fair play to him. He's had a rotten year after injury. Came in and played a role for Arsenal towards the end of the title push. and he scored a crucial goal for Spain in one of those games that, to be honest, you've just got to get through, haven't you? A bit like a couple of England's group games that you've just got to find a way through them. And they did. It's Portugal 0, Spain 1. Spain advanced to the last 8. We will be watching them on Friday night against the winners of USA-Belgium. But for now, we will be back tomorrow night to watch Switzerland-Colombia at 9 p.m. Fingers crossed you'll be able to come and join me for it. We'll all have caught up with our sleep by then. In between now and that, though, let's see if we can find someone to go and watch. We've got the Build a Nation in Scotland with Tony, but I want to see if we can spread it out a little bit. Who's Mark? A Scottish Mark is playing with Edinburgh City in Season 2 in the playoffs, so we'll go over there instead. Portugal are out of the World Cup. Spain will continue to Friday's match. Thank you everyone who's joined me today. Thank you for all the chat, the quizzes, the fun. It does make games like that a lot more entertaining to watch when we've got a little bit of company and chat. So thank you very much for being involved in it. I'll see you tomorrow for one I'm looking forward to a lot more, as we'll be back at 9 p.m. for Switzerland, Colombia. Oh, he's a Livingston fan. Well, there you go, Jambo. A Livingston fan with Edinburgh City. Plenty of Scottish football chat to go. Over to Mark we go. Have a good rest of your evening.